Spain's government has announced a new digital monitoring tool called HODIO, short for Huella del Odio y la Polarisation, or Footprint of Hate and Polarization. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez says the system is designed to measure the presence, evolution, and reach of hate speech on digital platforms, with the aim of making online hate more visible and easier to track over time. Reuters reports the government also wants the results made public so users can see which platforms are acting against harmful content, which are ignoring it, and which may be benefiting from it. According to Spain's official announcement, HODIO will combine quantitative analysis with expert review, and it will publish findings every 6 months. The government says that is intended to show the level of hate on each social network and create pressure for safer digital spaces. The announcement came as part of Spain's broader push to tighten oversight of social media companies, a strategy Reuters says also includes proposed restrictions on access for younger teenagers and new accountability measures for platform executives over illegal or hateful content. Spanish officials are presenting the tool as a response to a growing online problem. La Moncloa says 3 in 4 young people in Spain encounter hate speech online, citing Fad Juventud, and says Spain's Observatory of Racism and Xenophobia, OBERAX, identified more than 845,000 hateful items on major platforms in 2025. Sanchez argued that online hate does not stay online forever, and that what becomes normal on the screen can spill into daily life. At the same time, critics of Spain's wider digital regulation plans have warned about censorship, forced content control, and greater state influence over what users see online. Now, compared with the United Kingdom, the first key difference is legal structure. In the UK, freedom of expression is protected through Article 10 of the Human Rights Act 1998, which says everyone has the right to freedom of expression, including the right to receive and impart information and ideas. The Equality and Human Rights Commission says that protection extends to speech on the internet and social media. But in the UK, this is a qualified right, not an absolute one, meaning it can be restricted by law in certain circumstances. The second difference is how the UK handles hateful expression in criminal law. Under the Public Order Act 1986, the UK already criminalises some forms of hate incitement. For racial hatred, Section 18 covers threatening, abusive or insulting words or material where there is intent to stir up racial hatred or where hatred is likely to be stirred up. For religious hatred and hatred on the grounds of sexual orientation, the threshold is narrower. The law focuses on threatening words or material and requires intent to stir up hatred. That narrower wording matters because Parliament built in stronger speech protections in those areas than in the racial hatred provisions. Those protections are made explicit in the statute. Section 29J of the Public Order Act says nothing in that part of the law should prohibit or restrict discussion, criticism, ridicule, insult, or expressions of antipathy toward religions or their followers. Section 29J similarly says discussion or criticism of sexual conduct or practices, or urging people to refrain from them, should not by itself be treated as threatening or intended to stir up hatred. So in the UK model, there is a clear effort to draw a legal line between offensive or controversial speech, which is often protected, and intentional incitement to hatred, which can be punished. The third difference is platform regulation. The UK's Online Safety Act 2023 does not create a named public tracker like HODIO, but it does impose duties on platforms and search services. The government says the Act requires providers to reduce the risk that their services are used for illegal activity and to remove illegal content when it appears. Ofcom says the illegal harms duties are already in effect, and from the 17th of March, 2025 it has been able to enforce against in-scope services. At the same time, the Act itself includes specific duties about freedom of expression and privacy, which means UK regulators and platforms are supposed to weigh safety measures against users' lawful speech rights. The UK framework also gives Ofcom real enforcement power. The government's explainer says companies can be fined up to £18 million or 10% of worldwide revenue, whichever is greater, and in some cases senior managers can face criminal action for failing to comply with Ofcom's information requests or certain enforcement notices. The same explainer says large services will also have to offer adults optional tools to reduce the chance of seeing some categories of legal but harmful content, including certain abusive or hate content, while continuing to protect freedom of expression. So the broad comparison is this: Spain's HODIO is primarily a measurement and public accountability tool designed to track and publicize hate and polarization trends across platforms. The UK approach is more legal and regulatory, built around a qualified free speech right under Article 10, criminal offences for certain kinds of hate incitement, and platform duties enforced by Ofcom under the Online Safety Act. In simple terms, Spain is moving toward a system that measures and names the problem more directly, while the UK framework is more focused on balancing protected speech with targeted restrictions on incitement and illegal content. That does not mean either country has absolute free speech online. In both systems, expression is protected, but not without limits.